What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to discuss Rocksteady's their plan, what they should do, and what they should do really to expand this DC universe. So this is something that we've talked a little bit about, and mainly we've only talked about the ARKHAM parts. Now, this is like a Rocksteady-centric video. I like talking specifically about Rocksteady from time to time, and the thing with them is the rumors and the leaks, I guess if you want to call them confirmed or unconfirmed, whatever, of this ARKHAM game, this new Batman ARKHAM 2020, being the Kickstarter, basically, of a DC extended universe only in games, right? Marvel is kind of doing it, although not necessarily doing it all that great. And while we don't really have anything for DC yet, it seems like DC is probably doing it very, very smartly. So my question to you guys, and that's what I want to discuss in this video, is do they have to make Justice League? Like, is that the game that Rocksteady needs to be making to really make this universe happen? Now, games are very different from movies, right? And I think if you guys have watched the DC movies, which I've watched all of them, or all, I guess, like the newer ones, right? And I think we could maybe all agree that one of the biggest problems with what they were trying to do is they were trying to go too fast. They're trying to rush things. They're trying to they jumped immediately from Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman with like nothing in between, not even introducing this Batman in his own movie. Then, yeah, we did have Wonder Woman, and that was fine, and that was actually a really, really good movie. But then we had Justice League, again, rushing it and bring everything in way, way, way too fast. Now, the thing with games is it doesn't really matter, and that's a good thing. It really is a good thing, because you look at what they could be doing, and it's, okay, so we have ARKHAM 2020. Hopefully it's 2020, right? I'll just call it that for the sake of calling it that. We have that. We have this rumored Superman game. So we have, at this point, I mean, Batman is a whole lot more, I guess, official without it being official than the Superman game is. I think it's still possible the Superman game doesn't exist. There's only really been one leak on it, and people are now kind of just going off of that, just saying that it's definitely happening. It doesn't, I mean, it could be proven to be false, but, you know, we have that. And then we have Rocksteady. So we have those two studios, whatever that studio making Superman is, if it's Monolith, if it's somebody else, whatever. We have those, and they're going to obviously, so that's good. I mean, you're literally starting your universe. Again, we've talked about the reboot. What does the reboot mean with Batman? But kickstarting this off, keeping the ARKHAM name, so keeping people a little bit familiar, maybe a little bit like safe. But again, starting off what will be like the future of all of these DC games. Maybe they'll connect different superheroes in that Batman game, and then we get Superman game, or we get, you know, Rocksteady's game after. I don't know if the Superman game would come before or after Rocksteady's game, but Rocksteady, I really think, probably should do Justice League. Now, I'm a big fan of standalone games. I've talked about that before. I've also talked about the difference of like people like the GTA style, maybe Rocksteady, or like GTA 5 style Justice League game versus like a single player where the development team or Rocksteady will tell you, you know, which player to play in which situation, like that kind of stuff. That is, you know, that is debatable which version of a Justice League game we get, but I am a fan of putting them all together, but I'm also a fan of having standalone games. I think when you want to build a universe like this, though, it is okay to have them all be together and to do it early and to do it fast. Because again, it's just flat out different for video games. You don't need to get people into feeling like where this character is and having them all get introduced. And again, maybe even in the Batman game, they can kind of start that. Again, I mean, I think people, again, we've all kind of put it together where it seems like Warner Bros. Probably went to Warner Bros. Montreal and said, hey, this Damian Wayne game, nice, like you guys are doing great, but you're taking too long, and you've been working on like 15 games that have never worked out, but we want you to start like a brand new thing, but we want to really act like in a good way. We want you guys to be the pioneer. We want you guys to start off this extended universe of all these DC characters that we want to do. Rocksteady's over there making Justice League, and we feel like it would maybe be better if you guys started it with ARKHAM, with a brand new ARKHAM. You know, you can pick and choose what you want to keep from the other ARKHAM games. Maybe introduce some of the Justice League members in there just so people know that they all exist, and then we can have this Justice League game. So I think it's wise. Now, you need to have a good blend. You really do, and I do believe that. And I think, honestly, they know that, right? Warner Bros. Montreal is making 2 games. The Batman game is closer, but it's not obviously done yet. But they are making a second game specifically, it seems like, for next gen. We don't know what that game is. My running theory, again, as I say in a lot of these videos, is that maybe they did go back to that Wonder Woman game and they said, hey, like, maybe we can actually make this work. And if we do want to make, because again, like, a Justice League game I think is very important, right? Because you get all the characters together, you get to play as all of them. Maybe you only focus on some of them more than others, right? Because it's very possible that, like, Batman and Superman are two of the biggest parts of that game. Maybe there's not that many Aquaman or Flash or Wonder Woman scenes in general, right? Maybe you can't play as them all that much. And is that going to make people upset? Sure. Is that something we can talk about when the game comes out? Absolutely, right? That's definitely a problem that we could have to have like a discussion about. But we're probably going to be able to play as at least a couple of them, and probably some more than others, and it's some like a good amount. And it's important that after that game, we get, again, all of these different variations of games, all these different standalone games. I mean, maybe like a Suicide Squad game could actually work, and that could be something that maybe 5-10 years down the line, that's something that they think of doing. Or again, like maybe they'd say, all right, that game worked out really, really well. This Superman team, you know who's like Superman but slightly different, but if you nailed Superman, you can probably nail him too, is Flash. So after this Superman game, you guys make the Flash game. Warner Bros. Montreal, you made Arkham. Now the second game, it's maybe a standalone game. Maybe it's Wonder Woman. Maybe it's Green Lantern, maybe it's something like that. Okay, you guys make that. Then the team that just made Arkham 2020 or whatever it's called, now you make Arkham 2. You make the second Batman game, because we need to keep Batman around. Rocksteady, I don't even know, like you do something else, right? Maybe you can make a Justice League 2, or just do something like, pick a character, maybe pick a collection of characters. Maybe you make the Suicide Squad game. So something like that. And there's only, I mean, you know, we only know Rocksteady and Warner Bros. Montreal. That third studio is a mystery, and it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody owned from Warner Bros. It could be just another studio that they've said, hey, you're going to do this for us, or we want you to do this for us. We're going to give you this money to do it. It could be that, but if they start to assemble this team, 3, 4, 5 teams, and they're big enough, and maybe they do so successful that each studio has 2 different teams, so they're each making 2 games. And again, you know, one game gets most of the work, and the second game is kind of on the back burner before it switches, and that always, you know, that tends to happen with these studios. But I mean, you could have 4, 5, 6, 7 DC games going on. Now, you could say, is that like overkill? Is that too much of it? I mean, yeah, it could be. It very well could be. But they're trying to do something that really, like we talked about, hasn't been done. Marvel is kind of doing it, but they're really having a lot of problems because Sony with Spider-Man, and they could probably do their own thing. Like, they can have a Spider-Verse, right? They can have Miles. They can have Venom. They can do all that stuff. But, like, they're being very secretive on if he's going to be in the Avengers game, which I don't think he would be, and all this stuff. And they kind of have to keep them separated. And also, Avengers just flat out doesn't look very good to my eyes. And I do want to talk about that Avengers game, too. I want to talk about more superhero games. But there's a lot, you know, so, like, they're kind of doing it, like they're attempting their own version of it. And DC, from what we hear, now they haven't actually put anything out like for us to purchase to show us they're doing it, but from, you know, word on the street is there, that's what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to make their own universe. And think about that, though. Like, I don't know. It kind of feels like when we have a year without one of these games, it feels like, man, I kind of would have liked it, right? Like, I talked about in past videos, like, I'm still playing Spider-Man. I beat it. I'm playing through the DLCs now. It's such a fantastic game, right? It's just so amazing. And, like, I can't, like, 2019, we didn't have one of those, right? And Batman from 2015 to 2018, so 2016 and 2017, we didn't have any of those kind of superhero games. It's like, kind of just feel, not like a lost year, because there are so many fantastic games, and we all play different games besides these, and there's a lot of really good games out there, but, like, I would sign up for a superhero game every single year. Now, if we get like 2 a year, does that eventually become too much? It very well could be, but I think for the first little while, people would actually be really excited about it because we've never had something like that before. But truly, I would sign up for 1, maybe even 2 superhero games a year, especially because, again, Marvel would probably be doing their own thing. I mean, it's a win-win. And no matter what, the good thing about this specific video and this specific discussion is it doesn't really matter what Rocksteady's doing, because I trust them. I think they're going to do a really good job. And I do think they are going to have that Justice League game, again, to kick off, really. I mean, we talk about Batman Arkham and how Warner Bros. Wants that to kick it off. I think you really have your extended universe started when you have a Justice League game, when you know that there's other members in there where you can play as other people. Again, Batman is probably going to kickstart it by having the Bat family, so you're already expanding the Batman kind of situation, and then maybe you again in that game maybe you have a Superman cameo, maybe you have a Flash cameo, and they're just in it. It's just like a cutscene, so you know that they exist, but you can't play as them yet, but you'll be able to in Rocksteady's Justice League game. So I think and like after credit scenes, we saw Spider-Man do that, right? They had a mid-credit scene and they had an after-credit scene for their game, just like movies. So like you can really do that for these games. I think it's just going to be these are really fun times. I mean, I'm super stoked for Batman Arkham. For this specific video, we're talking about Rocksteady. We're in for a really awesome, at least next couple years. And I think, again, it's just going to be the kickstart for what's going to be even more amazing years to come after it. But guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think Rocksteady needs to make this Justice League game, or do you think it could just be something else? Let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, all that stuff. You guys have been rocking these videos for the last several weeks. You guys have been doing such a tremendous job, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. So keep it up. Keep those likes and comments coming. I'll keep making these videos. Anything newsworthy comes out, I'll be covering it, and we'll be talking about Batman and Rocksteady and DC in general often on this channel. Okay? Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.